What's the most unhinged thing you've done to get ahead? When ex-user Oluwatosin Olachende tweeted that question, she didn't know she would be unleashing a wave of stories that reveal the fundamental secrets of success. The people who win are the ones who dare to act. The responses showed that the most extraordinary journeys are fueled not by recklessness, but by having high agency. But then, what is high agency? This is taking ownership of your destiny and not seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances. It is the audacity to stare into the face of uncertainty and take action anyway. It is the wisdom to see failure not as a gravestone, but as data for improved decision making. The responses to Tosin's post showed courage, ownership, and audacity. From the rejected applicant who emailed the recruiter asking for a chance to prove himself on the job, to the professional who walked away from a safe, secure job to take a bet on their own potential. These aren't just unhinged stories. They are stories that show people being active participants in their own lives and aggressively choosing their desired outcomes. Look around you. The world does not hand out trophies for patiently waiting. It doesn't celebrate those watching from the sidelines. It only rewards the gladiators in the arena, the ones who dare to play, and the ones who are brave and bold. Every single action you take, every risk you embrace, is a vote you cast for the future you desire. So I ask you, are you content being a spectator in the stadium of your own life? Or are you ready to start taking action towards your dreams and build the future you crave with your own hands? The decision lies with you. Every action you choose either takes you closer to your outcomes or takes you further from them. So ask yourself, what unhinged action am I taking this week?
Because I have a story where everything that I have built over the years, I built from the same environment. I didn't come from a wealthy family, right? But I've gone ahead and I've built systems that have empowered hundreds of thousands of people. And with all of that, it taught me one thing, which I think, if everybody understands that, the only reason why you will not be successful will be the decisions that you're making. And it comes to just one thing, is the fact that it doesn't matter where you are or where you're from. If you find something, anything, and you're willing to be consistent, and you're willing to show up every single day, it doesn't matter where you are or where you're from, you would succeed. I have two examples. I used to say this to people. I'm like, if you take a cardboard paper and you say, I am here, before you know it, one brand will say, slap this guy endorsement. It's that simple. There's this guy I've been watching for a long time on social media. He's a basketballer. I think he's from Kenya or Congo. He trains in a slum. He uses like tires, wheelbarrows. He will tie himself in a tree. And recently, I just saw a video of him training with LeBron James' coach in America. His whole life has changed because he wakes up every morning, he was consistent. This guy was doing it for over 5-10 years. He shows up every day, do videos and post online. So there's no excuse. Yes, the government has a role to play. Yes, yes, the environment is not conducive, but as long as you're willing to show up, that's one, and you're willing to go through the process. Because this whole idea of our young people that they want microwave success. And because of the kind of content that we're consuming, and we're seeing people post the successful part of their lives, which is like 0.2%, we think that's what life is about. The moment you understand that nobody is going to show up for you. I mean, we see all these videos where somebody come and say, I saw what you're doing, I want to give $500,000. Naskito.
So there's a thin line between genius and foolishness. And the difference is success. Yeah. If you succeed, you're a genius. If you fail, you're very foolish. The people who have succeeded doing audacious things were not sure they would succeed. They just had self-belief. And they might have failed several times in other endeavors, but kept going. So I would say that, you have to be willing to be a fool to succeed.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to be ridiculed and to fail, it's very difficult to attain great success. So I would say a few things to what you have spoken, and I find it very inspirational, what you have shared. One of them is that it's important to read books because some people have not also been exposed to courage. And so they don't understand what it is to be courageous. They've been taught, the government, everybody, victim mentality. How do you come out of it? Find other people who have gone through suffering and difficulty and adversity and have succeeded, and read what they have, gone. Follow people like that. Then get up, get dressed, and show up. And then another thing is, what do you have in your hands? Whatever it is, whatever cards life has dealt with you, play them.
I saw the thread, I saw the Twitter post, and I saw a lot of the reactions. But what's jumped out at me, as these things always do, is most of the people who responded with good stories are people who have high agency. And there are three things that go into high agency. There's that sense of agency, there's self-efficacy, and then there's locus of control. Self-efficacy is that belief in yourself. And then locus of control is where things align for you. And basically, if you draw a bell curve of all human beings, it's about 1% that all these three things will align for. So if we want to build a society that functions, we need to recognize that it is about 1% of every individual. So in Nigeria's case, 2 million people that these things will align for. And then, so we need to build a society where the average, who all these three things will not align for, are taken care of. And that, for me, is the biggest failure. Yes, we can, Bright is very right, we don't have to wait for government for everything. One of my favorite series is The Men Who Built America. They didn't wait for government to do things for them. But when they did things for themselves, they had that, Carnegie, for example, had that mindset that, okay, a benevolent spirit has broken my palm kernels. So it is now time for me to give back to society. And that largely is something that is missing here. Giving back doesn't mean throwing money at people. Giving back could, in short, mainly means, if you want it to be sustainable, influencing political outcomes.
Bigs up to Tosin. She's a friend. Very inspiring, inspirational personality, and and I love the thread. Because it also reminds me of my own personal story. At some point in my life, I walked away from a job in a oil and gas servicing company, and when I did, in fact, one of my senior mentors at that time said, "I must be mad, I must be crazy." But I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew that taking that job was going to distract me from where I wanted to be, and I needed to be in contact with some people, just like you said, that that there's just certain people you needed to be close to, and if I took that job, I was going to go along that. But eventually, I look back and I don't have any regrets. But I had a conversation with my daughter recently, and we're talking about our future. She's finishing university, and she's talking about what she wants to do. And here's this lady that she's talking about, I want to, go into tech. There's some things I want to do. And, I tell people to be audacious. Okay, that's what I tell people. Really, you need to be audacious and all that. And here's this young lady that wants to be audacious. Okay, but then the father in me is saying,
play it safe.
Slow down with that, okay? You need to work first, you need to gain some experience. So it's coming to that reality to say, you know what? Be audacious, do this, go out on your dream, be unhinged, but understand that there's a risk that it doesn't work. I'll give you a last example of one of the experiences I had when I was getting into the office of an MD who was about to sack me. I was getting into that office. I knew that I was going to be sacked, and the guy asked me a question, and he said, what do you think you're going to be in the next 10 years? And I replied him,
Yes.
exactly where you are sitting. And that was the answer that gave me the job, that kept me on the job.
You might not even get what you desire or what you imagined, but just the process. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't forget the end. Sometimes even the end that you expect, you might get a different kind of end, but that end is still good. At the end of the day, the end is good, but the process is what makes you who you are. So just do it regardless.
Taking ownership begins with appreciating that our actions and even inaction either take us closer to our desired outcomes or further away from them. The choice is ours.
Choices and ownership. What do Nigerian jollof rice and engineering have in common?
I can't wait.
Bright says he may have the answer to this question. Do you?
I think I do.
You think you do, huh?